The lovely Mrs. Grey Dog, for my birthday, purchased me this watch. It is the Garmin Instinct 2 Solar Tactical. That is a mouthful. Does it live up to the hype? Is it everything I hoped it was? Was it more? I'll break it down. I think there's a lot to go over, so stick around. Well, I got a gift from Mrs. Grey Dog today for my birthday, one day early. For those of you who know when my actual birthday is, it's a little early. And I was getting ready in kid on Christmas morning to rip it open and do all the things. And she stops me and she's like, wait, aren't you going to do a video? And I was like, oh, darn it. You got me. You got me. Okay. So I got to. Hey, if Mrs. Grey Dog says to do it, we got to do it. So quick unboxing. Now, as a matter of introduction, I normally just run a plain old G-Shock. This one is solar Bluetooth, but the Bluetooth really kind of is just setting it and setting functions on at the end. So it's not like a smartwatch, it's not a fitness watch, it's a timepiece. That's really what it does. It has alarm, stopwatch, world time, all that other stuff, but at the end of the day, this is a timepiece. Now, certainly this is as well, but it has other functions. Fitness, obviously, and then on top of the fitness, there is let's see, the heart rate, I think pulse ox, maybe some other stuff like that. GPS for tracking and also smartwatch capability, but it's not really one of those fully featured smartwatches because it doesn't give you the ability to do all of the emails and all of the things. It's kind of limited functionality in that regard. But I didn't want a full-on everything smartwatch. What I really was looking for was something that would have a little bit of that, but what I wanted was something ruggedized, obviously, because I do kind of rough work. But I wanted fitness tracking. Now, of course, obviously, I had to get the Solar Tactical, all the goodies. And I was looking through the tactical features. Guys, there's stuff on this watch I'm never going to use, including a jump master feature. I don't care. That's sometimes you want something because you want it, and that is me when it comes to this watch. So what we have here, obviously some sort of charging cable. So I'm going to have to get an initial charge on this thing. Part of the allure of this watch was that while it is a smartwatch and it does require charging, unless you're using every single feature on this watch, like all the GPS, all of the stuff, then it tends to have a pretty good battery life. Because the thought of having to charge my watch every night along with my phone really kind of started to get me a little bit apoplectic, guys. The phone is enough. I don't want to have to deal with the phone and multiple other devices that require continual charging. It just seemed like a real pain in the butt. I think this is just safety warnings probably in every language on the planet. Yeah, it's got that health warnings. Don't use the pacemaker. There's lights and flashing. May have a flashlight you can program. Always consult your physician before working out. Heart rate monitor and pulse oximeter technologies are accurate-ish, but there are inherent limitations. And the data provided by these devices is intended to be a close estimation of your activities and metrics, but may not be completely accurate. Don't be a dumbass on a bicycle. Don't do anything dumb with navigation. Don't get lost in the woods and die and get eaten by bears. And it can irritate your skin and some other stuff. Software license agreement, blah, blah, blah. Okay. All the things to not be dumb and not do. I'll pluck that and file it along with the other stuff in the box. Quick start manual. That's what I want. Probably I need to charge it first. Turn on the watch, on-screen app. I'm going to have to set it up through the phone. I won't bother you guys with all that stuff. I'm going to actually run this for a few weeks before I actually finish the video, but I'm kind of curious to see how it does. I think it looks pretty badass, guys. Obviously, it's going to need setting and all that other stuff. I'll get back to you with some more goodies about it in the long run. And like I said, this was really, it wasn't something that I think I would spring my own cash on, but when I told the lovely Mrs. Grey Dog, man, I really want that watch. Well, guess what shows up? And so doesn't disappoint on first look. And really, if you look at what I'm currently sporting, it's not radically bigger or smaller, maybe slightly bigger in terms of bezel, a little more in thickness, I think because of the fitness capability. If you're looking for a really thin, low key, Obviously, I still like the G-Shock, but I'm very, very curious about how this one's going to do. Let's see how it looks. I haven't even turned it on yet, but I'll just put it on just to see how it looks on the wrist. Huge band for those of you guys who have Herculean wrists. Mine has recently shrunk a little bit, so plenty of band, like I said, but it's super flexible. So, and this one has a little notch in it so that it will kind of retain that band and not slide around. Nice. It's not super heavy either, honestly. I think it's about the same weight as this one. I'll weigh it later, but yeah. So without even having turned it on or anything, thus far, I really like it. Hey, Mrs. Grey Dog, thank you very much. You rock. So more review to come. We'll keep playing with it. All right, so let me cover as quickly as I can some of the button features of this watch. Up here we have the control button in the upper left, the menu button in the middle, the ABC button in the lower left. On the right-hand side, the GPS button and the set button. Now, those sort of tell you what they're about, but not all the way. One, the control button. If I short press it, I get backlight. Let's see if it'll even focus, but yeah, so short press gives me backlight. To give you some idea of what that looks like, short press, backlight. If I press it for longer, I get all of the modes. And then when you're in any of these modes that are selectable, menu is up, ABC is down, GPS is select, and set is back. So that whenever you're cycling through stuff, you just remember up, down, select, back. That helps you quite a bit. You can, let's see, we can completely turn the phone off. We can go into the compass mode, the altimeter, the barometer. If you want to set up Garmin Pay, you can set this up so you can do the touch pay instead of swipe. I haven't bothered doing that, but it is an option for you. Stealth mode, if you want this watch to emit no radio frequencies whatsoever, basically turns off Bluetooth, everything, so that you cannot be detectable. You have the night vision mode. You can find my phone, which I find to be eminently useful if you ever misplace your phone. You can control the music on your phone. You can lock out the keys. You can turn the do not disturb on, so if the notifications bother you. And the battery saver, I should mention. Battery saver basically doubles the battery life because it cuts out a lot of features and functions. So I notice how it says 26 days right now. If I turn battery saver on, it will probably double that. Then if we go to the menu button, a short press over here just takes you into all of the various sensors like temperature, compass, barometer, altimeter, pulse ox, shows your notifications, suggested workout for today, always useful. How you did last night. I slept really good last night, 88. It's one of my better sleep scores. I don't even know what measuring is. Temperature, I think it's temperature. Heart rate, number of steps, how long your last activity, really not sport, took. Sunset, your weather, solar intensity. You can tell I've barely been outside, just a little teeny bit. And then at the top, there's of course the battery. We have 92%. Then I'll hit back to get out of that. If I long press this button, it takes me into watch faces. And if I select that, then I can go through a bunch of different watch faces that this watch has or that you have downloaded in the Garmin Connect IQ app. I don't even know that I'll go into that for this. Different apps that you can add onto your phone and watch faces. Some of these are more applicable to different Garmin watches, but there's a lot that you can download and put into your phone. And that's, you know, I barely scratched the surface personally with this. So, but understand that the apps themselves add so much functionality, and you can download additional watch faces. And this is one I downloaded here. I like that one quite a bit. This is one that I downloaded. I also like this one quite a bit, and this is the one that I usually run. So if you see this one and you're like, man, my watch face does not look like that, well, it's simply because I downloaded it. You can make your watch face look like this if you want. The ABC button, if we give it a short press, it just goes back into those menus. And if we do a long press, it takes you straight to the compass. And look, north. How about that? The GPS button, a single press on it takes you into the sports activities or apps, whatever you want to call them. You can do strength training. Tactical just gives you, I'll show you tactical. It's actually pretty cool. It controls your pace, gives you GPS and your altitude, and you can cycle through that, like gives you a quick map. The maps on this are pretty bare bones, but they're not bad. Let's see, gives you a location in lat long and military grid square, which is pretty cool. Heart rate when it's on your wrist, which mine is not, and the current time of day. If we go into some of the others, Jump Master I'm never going to use because I'm not going to jump out of any airplanes anymore. Did that enough. Track Me is really helpful. So if you're just going for a walk someplace and you're not really sure exactly where you're going to end up, Track Me is useful. And then you can do Track Back if you want, or you can just do General Navigate. If you want to project a waypoint, i.e. point this at something and then hit the select and it'll guide you toward that. Reference points. And some of the workouts that I have set in here, you can add to or subtract or rearrange any of these in the Garmin Connect app. When it comes to the Garmin Connect app, if you look, guys, all the stuff that it gives you in here is unreal. Like you can do a health snapshot, your training readiness, your VO2 and your load, heart rate when it's connected to me. Body battery is interesting. It's basically telling me I'm probably pretty freaking tired, and I feel it. You know, I realize that you don't need an app and a watch to tell you when you're tired. The amount of minutes a week of exercise, steps, calories. If you use MyFitnessPal, you can link these two apps together to track your calories. And I've been doing that. Sleep score, once again, if you want it to tell you that you slept like ass last night, yep, sure enough I did. I actually managed like an 85 sleep score, not last night, but night before. There's all kinds of stuff when it comes to that. Heart rate variability, which I'm too much of a dum-dum to understand. Obviously weight. And then it gives you like your yesterday, your 7 days, all sorts of information there. Let's see. You can set up challenges, calendar, news feed. I mean, this is where you change your activities. If you want to add activities, you can create a manual activity. You can edit these. Health stats, performance stats. You can get suggested workouts like, hey, you know, here's what I've been doing. Give me a suggested workout. For safety and tracking, you can put in more than one emergency contact if you want, and then you can have the watch notify them. For some of the activities, if you have a, let's say, harsh stop, like mountain biking or anything like that, it will probably automatically tell your emergency contacts. And there's all kinds of settings in here. Really, this is more than I even want to go into. Just understand that your capabilities when it comes to what you can do in the apps, it's unreal, guys. It's unreal. Bike indoors, walk, health snapshot. All these are pretty useful. The health snapshot, whenever I do that, my dog Tulip does not like health snapshot. Apparently this phone makes some entertaining noises during the health snapshot. Now let's see. When you long press GPS, it takes you straight into GPS. Now, it's going to take forever to acquire satellites in here. I'm not going to show you where I live, so we're going to come right back out of that. The set button, if we single press it, that's just back. So you have to hold it to get to the alarms and timers. The control button up here, I forgot to tell you in the upper left, if you hold it really, really long, it'll alert your emergency contact that you have had an emergency, and you can cancel that if you want by hitting ABC or back. If you hold both of these two buttons, the control and the set button, then it'll put the kill switch going, and that'll erase everything in the phone in case you get captured by the enemy and you don't want them to know where all you have been and what you have done. In general, guys, that's the buttonology. There's a bunch of features in here, and I've got some other footage I'll roll about talking about the apps. Those are kind of useful. And the other watches that I have worn and still occasionally wear, but for the most part, guys, this has taken the place of all of them. I don't want this to take too long. Seriously, we could get so in the weeds when it comes to this watch and all of the buttons and features, but hopefully that gives you some overview of some of the cool things. The sensors, there's a ton of them, and they're super useful. I'll stop talking about the watch, at least in the micro, and we'll move on to the other stuff. To give you some idea of some other watches that I've run or still run to some degree and kind of where this watch fits in with them, here is what was probably my almost everything watch, like work watch, everything, for years, and it's a G-Shock Aviator series that I don't even think they make anymore. It's a classic looking watch, and I think it was like $300 to $350 new when I got it. Still like this watch to this day, very occasionally wear it, but I don't wear it as much. It's a good watch. What kind of replaced it as my work watch is one of the Casio series. This one's cheaper. It's about 150 bucks, Bluetooth. So this one uses time band. It actually gets signals from NIST to set itself. This one just Bluetooths to your phone. I found this in practice to work a little better and easier than that one. But so this was my work watch for a long time. You know, it's pedestrian-ish, but decent looking, durable, handles what it needs to do. When I wanted something a little bit dressier, I just got the brushed metal version of this one. Does the same stuff, right? It Bluetooths to your phone and it does all the G-Shock stuff. Super durable, nice watch, nice looking. And then when I wanted something that was a little bit more durable, or I'm sorry, not durable, but even dressier, I have this Breitling. I don't even have it currently like running right now. I just have it stopped. The chronograph, a lot more expensive than these others. So this really kind of only comes scooting out for special occasions. But really, guys, if we look at all these different watches, for the most part, I did wear this one to dinner the other night, but this one has kind of taken the place of at least half of these and really kind of done more as well. Now, it'll never be a dress watch. Like, you can get different bands for these, and so you could class it up a little bit, but I don't think it's ever going to be as nice as, you know, some of these, or even, you know, let's talk some higher end watches where you're spending really a lot of money to impress. Because really, at the end of the day, a high-end timepiece, it's kind of like that. I realize that I have a bit of an issue. I have a problem. Not a problem. I can quit whenever I want. So just to give you some perspective of me and the other watches that I kind of run around with. Now, when it comes to the charging of this watch, the average battery life that I've been getting is about 3 weeks based on my usage pattern. And my usage patterns, I'm not outdoors a lot, and I kind of have my doubts as to how viable solar is in terms of unlimited charging. I'm saying this based on somebody who's only had this watch in the fall, Eastern Seaboard near DC, which means that I'm not getting as much sun. Like if you're a Floridian, you're outdoors a lot, or for that matter, if maybe it was closer to summer and I was outdoors more. But my experience with this and battery life is that probably for every hour of like direct sunlight this thing sees, and they say 50,000 lux. I don't know what 50,000 lux looks like. Every hour of direct sunlight that I've been getting, I see about a 1% increase in battery. This screen's just giving me the days. Like this says I have 27 days worth of battery left. Some of the other faces actually give you a battery percentage. Not a big deal. You know, I think that's a reasonable estimate, but I go through it a little bit faster. I'm not seeing 30 days, but like I said, 20, 21 days between chargings, I'm easily getting. So if one of your objections to this kind of watch is you don't want to charge it every night, I'm 100% with you. I don't want a smartwatch like that I have to charge with my phone, like the Samsung or the Apple Watches. You know, having to charge multiple things every night just seems like a pain in the butt. Phone's enough. The problem with the solar is, like I said, unless you're getting really direct sunlight, you're probably not going to get that unlimited charging. One weekend, I think it was Halloween weekend, I was actually outdoors Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for a vast majority of all 3 of those days. And even by the time I was done, because some of the days were partly cloudy, some of the days had sun, I really didn't get ahead on the overall battery life. It was kind of just okay. I consider the solar on this to be kind of supplemental more than I'm really counting on it to keep this watch running. Charging it is not that hard. It's got a little charging port right here at the bottom underneath the heart rate sensor. And it's proprietary cable, plugs into a USB on one side and then the watch on the other. Charging it's pretty fast. A couple hours usually does it, depending on how far you've let the battery go. Not really that big a deal. Like if you were going to go and you're going to be outdoors for a protracted, we're talking like weeks and months, with no ability to get any recharge. If you're in direct sunlight, you're probably okay, but if you're in mixed conditions, I think you're still going to have some capacity to charge this thing. Just something to be aware of. When it comes to the smartwatch features, it doesn't have a touch screen, so you have to navigate through everything kind of on your own, and that's cool. It gives you a limited ability to respond. No, text responses there. So I customized mine, and if we see the respond to messages, you can see that I put, some things that seem a lot more like me than, say, the generic ones. And you can put in more. You can take some of these out, like it has extra ones, and you can make custom ones, obviously. So the responses, or the ability to do responses, is pretty cool. One of my colleagues hit me up on Insta. Anyway, there's a lot you can do in these apps. I think that I really don't want to mess with this watch anymore just in front of you, but just understand that for a very simple set of controls, it's pretty intuitive, pretty easy to use. And this is one of those cool watches where you don't have to use every feature, you just use the features that you want. It is relatively lightweight watch. I didn't weigh it, but it does not feel as heavy as some of the higher end, really weighty watches. It looks innocuous. You can get different bands for it from Garmin. If you want something that's a little nicer, different color silicone bands, you can get leather bands. The adjustability with this band is pretty awesome because the holes are so close together that I didn't have a hard time finding exactly how I wanted it to fit my wrist. With bands that have wider holes or links, I always feel like I'm kind of stuck in the middle, like either it's slightly too loose or slightly too tight. I do not have that problem with this band. So this watch is super comfortable. Very much enjoy it from that perspective. Anyways, I'll wrap this up. All right, so overall, this watch fills multiple needs for me in terms of smartwatch, fitness tracker, durability, and tactical. It's probably not the best smartwatch on the planet. Like I said before, if you want like a dedicated smartwatch that handles a lot of your phone, like you're offloading some of your smartphone onto your wrist, you probably want a Samsung or an Apple Watch. I don't think that this is going to do that. But in terms of what I'm doing with it, like getting notifications, quick responses back, understanding when someone's calling me or texting me, this watch very adequately does that. I had all the notifications turned on, so like anytime any app on my phone would give me a notification, like mail, Facebook, Instagram, anything like that. When I had those turned on, it was just a buzzing machine, just buzz, 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 buzz. So I turned a lot of that off. Now I just have it down to the notifications for messaging, and that I think has been a good balance for me. Your mileage may vary. That's how I'm using it in a smartwatch capability. Like I said, just compared to a normal smartwatch and the battery life, this thing crushes, so I like it from that perspective. When it comes to durability, I also like this watch. It's not really as durable as some of my G-Shocks. There's no way. If you look at the original G-Shock, when they put on like a hockey puck and smack it across that ice rink, run it over with cars, freeze it, boil it, I don't know that I'm counting on this watch to be quite that durable, but any kind of abuse that would break this watch is likely to break me. Really, the things that I do that require some level of durability in a wristwatch: shoot guns, work on cars. Occasionally, I help somebody get into restraints who does not want to get into restraints. And this watch easily puts up with all that stuff. I did put the screen protector. I did put a glass screen protector on it. You can get a 3-pack of these on Amazon for like less than $10 right now. Protector on here. I don't know that I even needed to do that. It might have just been overkill, but like I said, for less than $10, it seemed like a no-brainer. It doesn't seem, you can't even really see that it is on there. Like, it just blends in very seamlessly with the watch. So I would do that again. Could I go swimming in this? Yeah. Am I going to go diving with it? No. Do I dive? Also no. But, washing dishes, going swimming, going out to the beach and splashing around the waves, getting rained on, getting soaked at work, this watch is going to shrug all that off. So from that perspective, the durability is there, and it's good enough for me. In terms of a fitness tracker, it probably does even more than I need, but I like the ability to track my workouts, like tell it what I've done so it can tell me, you know, here's the calories you've expended, here's how much time you really should recover. I don't always listen to that, but you know, it's a data point. I'm probably not even using all of the capabilities of this. I forgot to mention, like, if you're a golfer, you can put golf courses in here. If you're an avid outdoor bicyclist, you can put all your routes in here. It does a lot of stuff, and I'm probably really, in terms of fitness tracking, only scratching the surface when it comes to what this watch will do. But so it more than handles my fitness needs, and that's no problem there, especially when we integrate it with my MyFitnessPal app, so that I'm kind of hanging on to exactly what my macros are, what I'm eating. It just makes me more aware of what I'm doing, and I think that's, you know, from that perspective, has been super helpful. Oh, I did forget to mention, this will give you not just heart rate. You can do pulse ox with it. I don't usually do the pulse oximeter because that starts to eat up the battery pretty hard. In general, when it comes to all the sensors on this watch, when you start turning on all the sensors, the battery life starts shrinking really fast. You know, especially when you're doing a lot of GPS, a lot of altimeter, a lot of compass, and then we throw in the pulse oximeter along with everything else. Now your battery life is probably measured not in weeks, but in days. Speaking of all those sensors, I don't use them that much. I use them for my walks, hikes, things like that, so I can track where I was. But I don't bother so much like running it all the time. And I'm not such a mad outdoorsman that I'm running that GPS all the time. It's nice to have, you know, for something that probably isn't going to get used that much by me. It's super nice to have for when I do want to use it. I probably should mention the tactical features. Am I using all of them? No, we already talked about Jump Master. Some of them I do like quite a bit. Some of them like, but you know, it said tactical. I had to have the tactical. It's, you know, it's a personal failing of mine. If you don't need those tactical features, I think you could just get a base Instinct or Instinct 2 without the tactical features and save yourself $50. But you know, it says tactical on it. So ladies and gentlemen, I can't say that this is the perfect watch for you or the right watch for you. But based on what I've told you, it certainly gives you, I think, some decision points like, does it make sense for me to have this watch, or would I be better served with something that's a little more low end or a little more high end? You know, on the bottom, Garmin makes some fitness trackers that are somewhere around 100 to 200 bucks. And if all you really want is those bare features, that may be the one for you. If you want a much more detailed map and a much stronger watch in terms of, you know, running, marathoning, trail, treks, things like that, then probably one of their Phoenix series makes more sense for you. You know, now you're talking somewhere between $1,000 and $1,500 for one of those watches. They have a lot of capability. I believe that while they don't currently, some of them will even have the ability to do an ECG or a EKG, and you could like send that into your doctor. I don't know if they're going to enable that, and I think you're probably going to have to jump through some hoops and say, yeah, I understand that this is not medical advice, blah, blah, blah. Just be aware, though, that this, you know, it sits in the middle. You know, I like it, and I think it's probably darn close to the perfect watch for me for what I need. If you've enjoyed this video at all, guys, and it's been helpful to you, please consider hitting that like button. I know that most of my content is much more firearms, knives, general preparedness, occasionally some fitness, and booze. If those things interest you at all, if you subscribe, you're going to get a lot more content like that. If you've made it all the way to this point in the video and you're thinking, man, that video sucked and that guy stinks, well, I appreciate your time watching. And if you really have any questions, comments, criticisms, hit me in the comments, let me know. If you have any messages for me, you can hit me on Instagram. Feel free to DM me. My Instagram's GrayDogLLC. I'm sure that's a big shock to you. I will not make this video any longer. I know it's probably gone long enough. Ladies, gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you are well. Holiday season is quickly approaching. By the time I air this video, it's probably going to be upon us, and I hope that your holiday season is amazing and you get to be with the friends and the family that you want to see. Take care. Stay safe. I'll talk to you soon.
Get 'em, Jay.